Well, what is going on, everybody? I am Brandon Spinner, and you are finding your way into the Whiskey Weather YouTube channel, where it is always Whiskey Weather. I apologize. I am a little delayed out there today. Today has just been one of those days. Some technical issues, some child issues. Life's gonna life. We got quite a bit of you already in here. My boy Eric out there. Thanks for joining in. Allie from The Good Drama. I saw Beach Sand Bourbon in there as well. Thank you for joining. This is kind of an impromptu live as we're celebrating 5,000 subscribers. And if you haven't done so already, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. If you're just joining in on the recap video, as this is live here on Tuesday, November 19th at 9:04. I'm a couple minutes late, so I apologize for that. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Give me a thumbs up or just let me know if that is the case in the comments below, and we will get going because I have had some mic and audio issues here so far tonight. But as we're going, we got the Tater Dram saying, cheers, everybody. Tater Dom, sorry. Tater, that's another thing, is the screen that I normally have, that's not working either. So the comments are very small, far away from me. We are today going to be reviewing 4 different bourbons, as you saw in the image there, from Limestone Farms, not to be confused with Limestone Distillery, which has been a different distillery, which is Limestone Branch. This is Limestone Farms Heritage Distilling Company. They are out of Georgetown, Kentucky. And they are co-owners with a family. This is a 5th generation farm. Is it Georgetown? Did I get that right? Hold, please. I have these notes. Yes, Georgetown, Kentucky, just north of Lexington. So we've got Darren and Bethany Dillo. They are the owners, but there are a couple of also co-owners part of this. You may know of one of them, or have probably heard the name, Tim Couch, who was a former NFL quarterback, Kentucky great. He's been inducted into the University of Kentucky Hall of Fame as a quarterback. But yeah, thank you, sir, to Beach Sand Bourbon for the congratulations. Now I'm starting to see a bunch of comments. They're starting to roll in. All right, there's Randy joining in. A bunch of patrons, actually. We got Jerry. We've got JL, who's won a few of my giveaways, I believe. You're making me buy a lot of bourbon. Well, that means that you hopefully agree with me. What's going on, Randy? We've got Tater Dom. Good evening, Tater Dom. Thank you for joining in. Jerry, thumbs up. Congrats on 5,000 again. Allie says, can you hear you loud and clear? So I'm catching up. This, again, technical difficulties are a nightmare today. So that is part of the news industry as well. You just got to power through it. For those of you just joining in, my name is Brandon Spinner. I am a TV meteorologist in Cincinnati, Ohio, meteorologist, so hence Whiskey Weather, and it is always Whiskey Weather in my mind. Today, as I mentioned, Limestone Farms, they are a heritage distilling company based out of Georgetown, Kentucky. They've got 4 offerings here, and we're going to go through these, rating them on my lightning counter, which is a 10-point rating scale, 5 tiers, all worth the same amount at 2 each. And all of those are the nose, the flavor, the mouthfeel, the finish, and then the value. That score all combines that score at the end out of 10 points, and that will pop up on my rating scale to see what is the best bourbon of the year, how it rates, whether that's good, average, very good. And if you saw some of my previous videos, I just did a couple of reviews on some bangers, and I've got more on the way. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss out on those. I've got a bevy of videos on the way. Eric is drinking Nulu Maple Brulee right now, but what is everybody else drinking? Porky, thanks for joining in. Barry Daniels, he's also a patron. So is Porky. Thanks for all of y'all. And I'm going to be giving away a bottle to my Patreon members. And also we're going to be doing another bottle giveaway here coming up as well. I've seen some good reviews, especially on the 2 high offerings, says Barry. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. But we're going to see Limestone video on Sunday. Heck yeah. So go follow or subscribe to Beach Sand Bourbon. Give them a follow as well. Dane the Whiskey Man, but Still Austin Cask Strength Rye. I do have the Still Austin Cask Strength Rye. Very, very good. One of my favorite ryes from last year. And Jerry's drinking ASW Dooley Single Barrel. So one thing I do want to point out, if you are just joining in, welcome in. We're going to be doing a giveaway. So every $5 in super chats here in the video, or if you Venmo me $5, we'll get you an entry into a different bottle giveaway. But we are also giving away a bottle to Patreon members. And if you want to join the Patreon or hit the join button below, you are all entered in that. We've got Mike Smith also, who is a YouTube member. And every month I give away a bottle. This month I'm giving away 2 bottles. They're actually downstairs where my giveaway box is. But that is going to be one for anybody who joins just even as a free member in the month of November. You'll be entered into the 2XO giveaway. And if you're a paying Whiskey Weather Storm Chaser, anybody $5 or higher per month will be entered in this month's giveaway, which is a Wild Turkey 70th anniversary edition for Jimmy Russell, which I'm excited about. The reason for the 2 of them is because this month is my birthday month. Last week, Tuesday, was my birthday. Porky's drinking Larceny Small Batch. We've got Beach Sand drinking Peerless Double Oak Cask Strength Rye. Randy's got the Bellmead Reserve. And Dan, how can flavor not count? Flavor doesn't always mean the best, because the flavor is also part of the finish. So the finish has flavor to it. The mouthfeel has the flavor, but also the feel. So they're all equal, because I think that there are multiple things regarding whiskey that make it great, and not just how it tastes, how it noses, how it finishes. You could have a really good tasting whiskey that finishes like crap. That doesn't mean it's going to be great. So what's going on, everybody? So thanks for joining in. We've got Frelin Bull checking in, trying to keep your eyes open. Long Tuesday of the week. I hear you. It has been a long week. So let's jump into the first review. Today has been a day. I need the whiskey. So this is the first one. It's called Bloodlines. And Bloodlines is one of their 4 offerings that they sent me. I believe they have 5 offerings right now. This is the lowest proof. Man, I'm a mess. This is the lowest proof. This comes in at 95 proof, and also it comes in with an age, I believe, of 6 to 9 years. So what that's going to mean is it's probably being sourced. The mash bill out of this thing is 78% corn, 13% rye, 9% malted barley. And this comes in at 9 proof, as I mentioned, 6 to 9 years old. MSRP on this puppy is $59.99. This is the cheapest of their offerings that they have. And from what I've understood, they have been doing some sourcing from a couple different Kentucky distilleries, because it does say Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey on it. That is very corn forward, right off the nose. It's got a little sweetness to it, though, so not too bad. But that corn really comes through. Did I bring a pen today? I did. It's sweet on the nose, so that's nice. Hard to pull some flavors out of it, though. The caramels and the vanillas are there. Not bad. I'm going to go 1.3 on the nose. Solid nose. Some of the cherries, that oak. We'll take it. Ooh. A little harsh on the first pour, but let's see where we're at here. It's definitely 95 proof. It doesn't drink hotter than that. It's got some sweetness to it. The first thing I get is actually char. 6 to 9 years on this. Very sweet. I don't know if I can say it's almost too sweet, but it's very, very sweet. Mouthfeel's not bad either. It's tingly. One thing I wish it was a little more viscous. So on the palate, classic bourbon notes. There's a little bit of that white pepper and then the black pepper towards the back end. A solid palate. We're going to go 1.1. Not the best thing I've ever drank, but far from the worst. So overall, we're off to a decent start. 2.4 out of 4. Let's go with the mouthfeel. So there's a little bit of the butteriness, but it's short-lived. And when I say buttery, I mean, if you took a bite of a buttered toast, you can just feel the butter stick to the sides of your mouth. It starts that way, and then it gets really thin, very watery. but there's a tingle on the back end. Again, mouthfeel's not bad, but I would hope for a little bit more of that stickiness, so to speak, a little more viscosity, a little more oil. Um, I like a velvety mouthfeel rather than a thin mouthfeel that kind of just feels like it just normally I want something that if it's lingering to the glass, that's normally how I feel like it's going to feel in the mouth. And it's pretty dry once you swirl it around. So very watery on that sense. It is a 95 proof. So I'm going to go with a 1.1 as well. So overall solid, but not amazing on the mouthfeel there. But overall an enjoyable pour. Is it going to be something I go to all the time? Probably not. The corn really starts to talk to me on the back end. And that's where we're going to next is the finish. There is like a buttered corn flavoring to it to me. Like I'm picturing sitting in a picnic, eating a corn stalk, piece of corn that you just grilled with a crap ton of butter on it. The finish is there, but it's really lackluster in my mind. We're going to go with a 1.0. There's enough of the tingle that I like, and it's not overly cinnamony or leathery, which can sometimes take away on the back end of a finish. Still get a little bit of that oak. That pepper really does come through. It's only 13% rye, and from what I understand, they consider this a Claremont whiskey, which generally means it is a Jim Beam whiskey. It doesn't have the Jim Beam nuttiness. It's 78, 13.9. I don't believe that is a normal Jim Beam mash bill, so it's probably a contract distilled. So the value on this, so $59.99. So 6 years, not bad. Supposedly it has 9-year whiskey in it, which generally means $10 for every year. But at the lower proof point and the way it drinks, I'm going to say the values again towards that 1. I'm going to go with 1 itself, just because I think that this would be a better $40 pour. I know they are contract distilling it, so it's not something that they have distilled. They've only been around since 2023. They're building the distillery, which is supposed to open at least to the public in early January. They've got a cattle farm that they use to help raise some money and then raise some cattle. They are a fully functional farm. Yeah, it's solid. So 1, 1.1, 1.1, that's 4.2, 5.7 for the Bloodline, which is their lowest offering. So not too bad for their lowest offering. I was expecting a little worse. So already off to a good start. The Bloodline 5.7, not too bad. I did mention that I do have Patreon members. I do want to give them a shout out. Some of those have already jumped into the comments, but also we are going to be giving away a bottle, and it is right here. This month's giveaway, or at least it was the October giveaway. I'm a couple of weeks late on getting to this. It's just been a busy time. Birthday month generally means a lot going on. We're doing the New Riff single barrel that I helped pick at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. That was the Patreon monthly giveaway in October. And if you are interested in become a Patreon member, or you are already a Patreon member, know that anybody who is in not the beginner tier, but from there, the enthusiast tier and on. So we've got Allie Scott, Thomas from the Bourbon Jerk, who I believe is live right now as well. Nadiri, Gary, Chip, Mike, Ken, big shout out to Kyle, Jonathan, Porky, Fidel, Grant, Decatur Gator, Rob Hartzell, Stuart Warren, who actually won last month's giveaway, which was the Maker's Heart release. My guy Matt over at Whiskey Wisdom, Cameron, Kyle Eaton, who's been following me all the way back to my days doing the podcast of Barrels and Barrels. Nick, who won also another giveaway on YouTube here a couple months ago. We've got Winterwind out of Georgia, Nitro Noise out of Chicago, Gandy Road right down the street in Union, Dave Vogelsang out in Rockford, Sam, Kevin, Sven Dryden, Larry, Travis, Bobby, T.S. Schoen, and Tim, who is the newest member to the Stormfront as of yesterday morning. So that is the enthusiast tier into the Storm Chaser tier, which is a $10 tier. Bunch of great people. Charlie, who was the very first ever member of the Stormfront. Jerry, Mike, Jenny, or Jennifer. You can find her Jenny Likes Whiskey on Instagram. Carla, who was part of my barrel pick of the Old Route 8 Augusta pick. David Martin, who him and his wife Sherry came with me on the new barrel pick that's about to drop. And here's one part of being a member of the Stormfront is you do get first offerings to barrel picks, and the next one is a Green River barrel pick, barrel proof, only going to have about 85 to 90 bottles available. So if you want in on that, anybody in the highest tier gets the first dibs, and then it'll go down from there. So that's the best way to guarantee yourself a bottle. But I've been listing off names. Eric Lido came with me out to Augusta as well. Frelin, Scott, as well as Michael, Nick, Todd, Ralph, David, Austin, Randy Flood. And we're finally to the Legends tier, which is the top of the top right now. Mike Lawson, he was on the pick. And that's another thing is if you're a member of the Stormfront, you do get the potential to be on a barrel pick with me if I'm doing something locally or near you. So keep that in mind. Michael Burns, one of my good buddies. He was my podcast partner. Steve, Brandon, good name, Brandon. And then Barrel and Grain. A bunch of different perks for being part of Patreon, as also some behind the scenes as well. Hit that like button. Yes. Thank you, Nick. Smash that like button as well. Tom sent me the 5 samples. I put a short showing all 5. I'll have to go check that out. 29 watching, only 5 likes. Yes, come on, smash that like button. And there's my guy, Kevin, joining in. I did get your bottle. I haven't got to it yet as well. We'll do that on the live here in the next month or so. But Kevin distilled his own whiskey. He has aged it in his grill in the backyard. And he sent it to me. I believe now it's near 3 years old. So something cool that we'll look forward as well. The Whiskey Shaman, got a sample pack from them as well. Can't wait to crack it open. So speaking of cracking it open, let's pour up another one. And I'm going to be pouring it into my Whiskey Weather Glencairn. That's another perk for Storm Chasers. And if you're in the Patreon group, after 4 months, you'll get one of these. But also, they are for sale. And the first 10 people to use code Back in Stock 5 will get 5% off a Glen, which I'll ship out this weekend if you're interested. So this next one, ooh. I poured the wrong one, Brandon. That was a little more funky. We're going to let that one sit. So this next one is the White Label. I thought I had them in order, but I didn't. White Label has the exact same mash bill, 78, 13, and 9. Again, I believe this is a Jim Beam distilled whiskey. This has a proof that comes in, I believe, it says on the bottle, right at 111. The age on this is also 6 to 9 years, which is a blend of 6, 7, 8, and 9-year-olds. But supposedly it's got more 9-year-old whiskey in it. See, even that smells the same. It's going to sound weird, but the first smell I got was like, it's going to sound gross, but armpit. Now it starts to open up. I've gotten that a couple times where I'm like, man, first blush, oof, not great. And then you go back and it opens up a bit and it smells better. Still a little ethanol-y to me. Caramels are starting to come through. A little more cherry. Nose is okay. I don't think it's as good as the other one, though. I'm going to 1.2. Doesn't blow me away. Hard to pull out anything other than the cherry and that acetone. Some body odor to it. It's not me. Okay, a little more orange. As it's opening up, it's a little bit better. Still, I think I like nose number 1 better. So we're going 1.2 on the nose. So the one part of this, so the other one was $69.99 or $59.99. This comes in at $99.99. So it's a little more expensive. This is getting towards that higher tier that a lot of people will pay. So 6 to 9 years. So this has some legs on it on the glass. A little more legs to it than the other one at 111 proof. So we're at 16 proof higher. There's that bean nuttiness. Yeah. It's got a Booker's and Knob Creek feel to it. So the nuts come through, walnut, cherry. The caramel's there, vanilla not as present. I get more of a bitter walnut. That's a lot more flavorful, I think, than pour number 1. So the Bloodline was a little more thin. This definitely has that viscosity I'm looking for. It coats the mouth much better. Very yummy. I wouldn't say that this is, again, the best thing that I've ever drank, but it's solid. $99.99 solid. I'll let you be the judge, but Yeah, it's very. Now, the more I go back to the nose, it is very Jim Beam centric. Like this almost has like a Hardin's Creek Boston nose now that it's opened up a little bit, which I really enjoyed last year, one of my top bourbons. But it's just that was 17 years old. This is 6 to 9 years old, not as pungent. And again, I'm kind of a little off put by that body odor and acetone smell up front. But it's starting to open up more cherries. Maybe 1.2 is a little harsh, but we're going to stick with it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mouth feels much better. Give the last one a 1.1. This is a 1.4. Very nice. Still a little thin towards the back end. It doesn't linger as long on the sides of my mouth, but there is more of that butteriness, that viscosity that I'm looking for. Very delicious. The caramels are more present on that second pour or that second sip. Still that beam nuttiness, but not overpowering. The palate, we're going with a 1.4 as well. Solid. Delicious. Enjoyable. Again, not the bourbon of the year, but a solid bourbon. And on the finish, so there's a little more of that cinnamony, leathery note that I was mentioning in the last one that didn't have, but there's still some of the cherries, that nuttiness that comes through. The pepper is there as well. It's the same mash bill. It's pretty close to the same whiskey, just probably 16 proof higher. And you can definitely tell that there's a lot more flavor there. On the finish, I'm going to say this is a little bit better as well. We're going to 1.2. Still that cinnamony, like red hots that kind of just takes over. Isn't my favorite. I like it, but I don't love when that becomes the identity. So 1.2, still not bad. Really delicious. As far as the value, though, here, is this something? I akin this to the Bookers that I reviewed earlier this year, the 2402. I think this has a little more flavor, a better nose to it. The value is right at the same. So I'm going to go with a 1.1, slightly better in value because there's more flavor. There's a little more proof. But at $100, I would have a hard time continuously spending on something like this, especially nowadays with people either getting cut from their jobs or stuff like that. And the prices on a lot of things going up. When I'm given a value score, I'm giving it something that I would buy over and over again. And at a 1.1, it's good, but I don't think it's something that I would continuously go after. There's more of that corn note on the back end again, like that buttered corn. It's part of that finish. So 1.2, 1.4, 1.4, 1.2, 1.1. I believe that is 6.1 that it comes out to, if my math is correct. No, that is 6.3, Brandon. So 6.3 out of 10. That's good. Doesn't mean it's great, but it's good. It is a very solid pour that I would enjoy a bottle of, but I don't know if I would buy it again and again. But a 6.3, definitely solid. We're stepping up from the first one, which, of course, was the Bloodline. Where did that sample go? So we got the Bloodline. We've got what was called the Morgan Family Collection Select Batch. That was the white label. And the next one is going to be the Mahogany label, which we'll dive into here in a second. And you've seen on the bottom of your screen, I haven't looked at the comments here in a second, but $5 for Super Chats. I'm going to be doing a bottle giveaway here within the next half an hour or so. So if you are interested in getting a bottle, the one way to do that is to either Venmo me $5 or send a Super Chat. For every $5 you are given one entry, and we'll do that giveaway. It is currently $9.28. We'll try to do that along with the New Riff bottle, which will be given away at 10 o'clock Eastern time. That's 9 Central for those of you in Illinois and into the central portions of the United States. Barry jumping in, saying he's sipping on some Green River Full Proof. Wife's drinking Green River Rye. I'm doing the Pursuit Rye from Kevin. I bottled with Kevin out at Pursuit Spirits. Charlie says cheers again. Charlie, the first Patreon member He's sipping on some Bardstown High Wheat Bourbon. That is so yummy. And Eric's agreeing. Great, great pour. And a big shout out to Nick. Thank you, Nick, for the $20. Awesome live tonight. And you're an awesome guy. I've appreciated your support here over the last couple of months as a member of the Whiskey Weather Patreon group, the Storm Chaser. You're a Whiskey Weather enthusiast, but the Storm Front itself. We're going to move on to the next sample. And that comes in as their Morgan Family Collection small batch. This is the red label. This does have a little bit higher proof, and it is overall technically a higher label. But guess what? Same mash bill, 78-13-9. Again, Limestone Family Farms. This is their family collection small batch, the mahogany label, the red label, whatever you want to call it. This does come in right at 113.6, but this one is 8 years old, 8+ years old, I believe. So we're starting to get into the higher age. One thing about this as well, the price has gone up again, $139.99. So the prices continuously go up from pour to pour on this. So hopefully the quality and the score goes up. I've heard some good things about these last two that I have read some reviews about. I don't always read reviews, but as I was doing some research, I do try to bring you guys some research. So I'm not completely talking out of my ass. They mentioned here, the guy Tom, who sent this over my way, big shout out to you, Tom Morrow. Thank you for sending this my way. Said that once this is all said and done, this is going to be the second largest pot still distillery in the state of, in the United States, actually. Behind Woodford, they'll have a hotel on the site as well, which is supposed to have also a 4,000-seat amphitheater, as well as housing. So the date for full completion is projected to be 2027. They're not sparing any expense. They make blend bourbon only using Kentucky juice and nothing short of 6 years, as we've seen so far. They say their private stock, which is the last one we'll get to, is in their ultra premium category, and we'll put it against anything in the market. So we're going to find out. Again, there's that acetone, and I don't want to say body odor note on the front, but a little bit of it there. Maybe it's nuttiness. There is some peanut to it. Okay, now it's really starting to open up. Let's swirl it around a bit. Color is great. I mean, it's 8 years old. It's got that look to it. Nose definitely smells like Jim Beam. So, nose is about the same, maybe a little more pungent and fruitful than the last one. So coming in there, we're doing pretty well. Very similar nose, maybe a little more pungent. It's a 2 proof higher or so. The first one was 111. This is 113.6. So for those of you who know the ABV, it's 56.8 ABV. Also, part of the whole, I've mentioned a couple times that I've had some technical difficulties. I have a new camera that I'm going to be using that's not working. And I also have mics that you've seen in the recent videos that were supposed to be hooked up to this. So now I'm back to the old podcast mic. But all of that has been available because of amazing Patreon members like you who continuously give back to the channel. And with that, I take that money and put it right into the channel. So thank you to each and every one of you who has supported me here so far. We're just over a year for the channel, but really 2024 was the start of this becoming something that I put a lot of time and energy in. And I'm hoping that 2025 is going to be another great year. Hoping to get to 7,500 subscribers between now and the end of the year. Probably a lofty goal, maybe 6,000. I think we're almost to 5,300, or maybe we just passed 5,300. Charlie joining in. He has sent in a super chat of $20 as well. Big shout out to Charlie. Thank you, sir. You are the man. So we're now up to $40 in super chats. I will calculate that all up and get it for you guys here later on and check my phone here in a second. Some funk, definitely some funk on the nose. Ezra 99 for Marshall Reed, I believe. Sean, you took that Glenn to the gym. Yes, I did take the Glenn to the gym. Eric and Sean, two guys here in Northern Kentucky that would chat in a special group with. So, and that's another thing. If you're always looking for something, I did see these bottles at the Party Source, but join some local Facebook groups if you haven't already. That's a great way to make connections within your community and just make some connections with people who enjoy what you enjoy. So on the nose, I kind of delayed that a little bit. There's some funk. There's a little more funk to this than the last one, but I like it. Nose is a 1.4. There's still more of that corn ethanol, but there's that flavoring. There's a little bit of the funk, and it's not wild turkey funk. I love wild turkey funk. This is a little more funky than that, and not in the greatest way, but there's, you know what this reminds me of? Jeff the Creed. This really reminds me of the Jeff the Creed nose. That little corn funk to it, but they had bloody butcher corn. This is not bloody butcher corn. 78.13.9. That is much. Ooh. Hell yeah. That is a. Of course, I said we were stepping up in price. We're also stepping up in quality. The flavor on that on the palate is much better than the first two, for sure. A lot more of that dark fruit, cherry. Get a lot more plum out of this. And definitely gives me some beam notes and feelings. This would be like a better Booker's, like one of the better batches of Booker's. You know how they're very inconsistent. This is a flavor bomb for sure. Cheers to Tom. Tom joining in. He is here from Limestone Farms, Heritage Distilling Company. I believe he's up in Michigan as an ambassador. This one for sure has a lot more flavor, Tom, in my mind. The palate has a lot more depth to it. It's singing in my mouth. As I'm talking, that finish is there as well. There's 40 of us here in the video, so please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and hit that like button below. It's already, I don't know if it's easy to see in the lens, but that is a much more creamier mouthfeel. That mouthfeel is fantastic. Of the three so far, this is definitely my favorite. The palate, we're going with 1.7 out of 2, which is the highest of the three. Actually, no, we're going to 1.8. I was being all too harsh at 1.7. 1.8 out of 2. Oh, and here we are. We're at the point of the live. That means we're about a half an hour in. We are when the lights start to go out. Don't worry, there are lights on the way as well. Let's do that. Let's give that one a break. All right, so 1.4, 1.8. Mouthfeels a 1.7. I love the creaminess. There's enough of a tingle on the mouthfeel that you get kind of that warm sensation without too much of a bite. Then the finish itself, even going back to the white label, there's some cinnamon on this one, but as I mentioned, the white label had more of that cinnamon and that leather like identity. This one doesn't have that. This one has more of an oaky, nutty identity on the flavor, on the finish, with some of that cherry sneaking through, a little bit of the rye, and again, a little bit of that cinnamon. But this finish is much more in depth. And as I'm talking now, I still really am feeling that chew, and it's much better than the first two. Not that the first two were bad by any means. Of course, they rated 5.7 and 6.3, but this one's finish, I'm going to 1.6. Much better, much more depth out of it. There's the caramel, the vanilla that you look for in a normal bourbon, but also you have that cherry and then the cinnamon coming through. So this, again, is much better than the first two. Yeah, so nose 1.4, palate 1.8, 1.7, and then 1.6 mouthfeel and the finish, respectively. So now we go to the value. This comes in with a price of $139.99. That would be almost identical to Booker's The Reserves this year, which just came out. I believe that's at $130. This is at $140. This is 8+ years. That is 8+ years. Value here is not bad. Again, this is a premium whiskey. This is not one that you would find everywhere. I'm assuming this is one of their more allocated bottles. I do think I saw this at the Party Source a couple of days ago when I was in there. And maybe a little bit higher price for like $170. But value-wise, I'm going with a 1.4. So The higher we get up, sometimes the value starts to go away. I understand they're sourcing their bourbon or their whiskey. They are also trying to build a distillery. This is up there too, and this is the higher aged of the three so far. This is good. So 1.4, 1.8, that's 3.2, 4.9, 5, 6.5. I believe this gets a 7.9 out of 10. That would rate it in one of my, I believe right now that would be a top 10 bourbon of the year for me so far. Just make sure my math is correct. We're going to just double check. So 1.4, 1.8, 1.4, 1.8, 1.7, 1.6, 1.4. Why did I doubt myself? 7.9 was correct. So 5.7 when it comes to the Bloodline. That is their lowest tier offering at $59.99. We've got a 6.3 out of 10, which ranks in the good category. So this is average, this is good, and this is great. And so for those of you who are new to the channel, when it comes to rating scale, 1 is a drain pour, 2 is bad or very poor. I haven't gotten even that low, but 5 is average, 6 is good, 7 is very good, 8 is great, 9 is excellent, and 10 is Hall of Fame. And I've only had 2 pours close to Hall of Fame. Chip joining in as well. Thank you to Chip for joining in and also for the super chat. Need me some LF samples. Yes. You're definitely going to want to look out for these guys. That's for sure. So far, the red label or the mahogany label, my favorite so far. But yeah, very good. Tom Chip says, cheers, everyone. And then Fritz, good evening, all. Cheers. For those of you just joining in, if you are just joining in this evening, what are you drinking? What's in your glass? Today, we are doing some reviews of Limestone Farms Heritage Distilling Company, not to be confused with Limestone Branch, also out of Kentucky. Tom says, give it a few minutes. Try a Ragged Branch rye if you want to reach out level 2. What's that day job again? Channel, etc. Are you talking to me? I do the weather on WCPO 9 News in Cincinnati. I'm a meteorologist, hence whiskey weather. So for those of you who are just new to the channel, that is why whiskey weather. Sean joining in. Have you ever had a drain pour? The closest thing to a drain pour that I have had is probably Old Tub. I powered through it, fed it to my dad. Did not love Old Tub. I never put that on a rating scale. You know what I didn't love? I didn't love more so because the IPA, I don't know if it would be considered a drain pour, but it would probably be like a 3 or a 4. It's the winter whiskey from New Riff, and I love New Riff. Jack jumping in, giving temp for Saturday morning. What proof are we drinking on Saturday morning? Hazmat? Yeah, I think we should. So Saturday morning, there's a bourbon drop at the Union Kroger in Union, Kentucky. You may have seen a video of mine earlier this year. I was able to score Pappy Van Winkle 20-year there. They're doing I think a very similar event. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of those BTAC bottles show up, especially on a Saturday morning before Thanksgiving, according to our guy Ryan. But yeah, Jack, also an ambassador for Pursuit Spirits. He's been at the party source here the last couple of weeks. Haven't been able to make it out, but I'll make it out there at some point here soon, dude. I promise. All right, here we go. Morgan Family Collection Private Stock. This is the one I've heard the most about. This is their black label. This comes in at the same exact proof written on the bottle. That is also the same age written out there as well. Comes in at 113 and then 8 years old, 8+ years old. The nose, again, a little bit more of that funk. This does have a different mash bill. And from what I've read, this was contract distilled for a different person from New Riff. This is 70% corn. I've never heard of this before. 10% honeyed wheat, 10% honeyed malty barley, and then 10% distiller's malt. So very unique mash bill there. And you definitely get the funk on the nose. And a big shout out to, I just saw someone pop up, Bobby Strange with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Bobby, for the support as well. You have been entered in for the giveaway, which will be here in about 15 minutes. We are going to be giving away a bottle, which I will announce here in a minute. For those of you who are in the Patreon group, you're probably waiting to see who has won this bottle, the New Riff single barrel that I did with the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. That was the October giveaway. The November giveaway is the Wild Turkey 70th anniversary. And then also I'm doing a special giveaway because November is my birthday month. Anybody who joins as a free member, as a paying member, whatever it is, if you're joining and you're part of the crew within the month of November and you go and comment on the post, you'll be entered to win the bottle of the month for November. So here we are. Man, that is fruity. That is funky. Oh, that is a really nice nose. There's like a medicinal cherry, but like almost a raspberry. This actually reminds me of the VVS nose. Maybe a little darker. Man, that is good. Balcones is the closest to drain pour I've had yet, says Beach Sand. Yeah, I've heard some things. I've heard some people either love it or they hate it. Austin says, shocked about winter whiskey. You love the winter whiskey. Goes, palates can be very wild, right? Yeah, I don't love IPAs either, but there's a lot of IPA mash within that, I believe, which is one thing that turned me off. Schnauzer, Four Roses, small batch. That's what you're drinking. I'm in Union. I haven't heard of the drop yet. Yes, it is this Saturday at that Union Kroger, I believe. Buckner's 10. I love Buckner's 10. Chew. What's going on? Still funky. Thank you for all of your comments as well. Chip, love that old Dom cask strength. Tom, very proud of this pour. You will be too. Yeah. So very, very interesting on the nose. It is really yummy on the nose. I can say that. Probably the best nose so far. 1.8. It's unique. It is soft and not soft in like a way. It's just like it's inviting. Like it's one that you can continue to nose and not feel like you're burning your nostrils hairs. And 1.8. That's the best nose so far of the 4. Again, we are doing Limestone Farms Heritage Distilling Company. One thing about this, the MSRP listed on the website, $189.99. So again, I believe they said this is their ultra premium offering. Yep, that was in the email from Tom. Ultra premium category. So we're looking up there towards being a competitor with Old Fitzgerald, VVS, Russell's 15, those higher tier, which Old Granddad came in this year. The 16 year came in at $200. The Little Book Infinite blend. Yeah, that is a great nose. Let's see what it tastes like on the palate. This is a funky mash bill. Wow. Let's go back. Yeah. So it's a wheater, or at least it has some wheat in it with the 10% honeyed wheat, 10% honeyed malted barley. It's got that softness that I get out of those higher aged wheated bourbons. There's a medicinal cherry note again that I get, but it's not like the bad medicinal cherry. It's like that sweet, almost, I like those cherry chewable candies. No, well, they're not chewable. They're like hard candies, but that my grandma would have in a bowl. That's what I'm reminded with this. Even some strawberry coming through as well, which is not a normal note I get. But when that strawberry comes through, it's like a strawberry tart. Very yummy. Man, that palate it matches the nose too. And that's another thing. Sometimes when I have a bourbon, I love when the palate and the nose match. When I get the flavors on the nose and then get the same flavors on the palate, that's where something I enjoy. I don't want to be taken for a spin. Like, what the hell did I just drink? Am I drinking the same thing? But yeah, so that is delicious. That reminds me a lot of the VVS. I'm not going to lie. It's got a very similar palate. Maybe not as much oak, but definitely a very similar cherry palate, sweetness, and we're going 1.8 on the palate as well. So Very good palate on that. This one has really surprised me. I'm very impressed, especially because of the mash bill being so funky. Sometimes that turns people away. Don't let the mash bill turn you away. Mm-hmm. Again, the legs on that puppy. Hard to see possibly with this camera and the way the lights are, but that continues to just slowly drip down the glass, almost like honey coming out of a cask. There's a little bit of that honey flavoring. Maybe, you know what? I'll go more maple rather than honey. The mouthfeel is great. It coats the mouth fantastically. As I'm talking, I still feel it all over the place, like on top of the gums, all over the cheeks, the tongue. And that when I give a mouthfeel score, I'm looking for something that I feel in the entire mouth. The phrasing. If someone were to watch a whiskey review without context and they walked in the middle of a mouthfeel comparison where I'm like, oh, I love the way it feels all over my mouth, that probably would be the most confusing video that they've ever watched. Yeah, that mouth feels great. We're going 1.8 as well. I love the way it coats. The only thing that I wish it had is a little bit more of a tingle. There is some tingle there, but that's just being hypercritical. It's really hard to get a 2.0 out of 2.0. Maybe I'm a little too harsh, but damn, that's really good. So the last one before we get to value is the finish. There is that cinnamon, but there's also a lot of caramels. There's a lot of that cherry still coming through. I said cherry a lot today because they all have a very similar cherry-ish profile to me, and the finish is good. A little more drying towards the back end. That's maybe part of the mouthfeel as well, where I almost feel a little more puckered, so to speak. But a good mouthfeel, good finish. The finish is a 1.7. Probably, this is me again being critical. The finish would probably be the one thing that I think could improve, maybe the most, but it's still there with me. It's getting a little more bitter, tanniny towards the back end as I continue to talk, and that's probably the score of a 1.7. But overall, very well-rounded pour. Very impressed. Now the question, value, right? So price comes in at $189.99. We're at 8 years old. We're at 113 proof, but this is different when it comes to that, and uniqueness also does factor in. Is this something that I would buy? Yes. If I saw a bottle of this and it was at the MSRP of $189.99, I'd buy it. I'd probably buy it up to $200. Past that, that's where I begin to question it. Because one, I don't love spending more than $200 on bottles. I have done it a couple times this year with the Russell's 15 and also the VVS. I would pay up to $200 for this. So the value of $189.99, I would put at a 1.5. I do think with the 8-year age statement that maybe if it was a little higher in age, I would go a little bit higher. But a 1.5 out of 2, definitely a solid score. So let's add it all up. 3.6, 5.4. I'm just going to continue to go on. I think it's an 8.6, but I'm just going to double check. Yep, 8.6. That would definitely be in the top 10 for bourbon of the year right now. Well, that is the highest rated of the bunch. Again, 7.9 and 8.6 on the last two. Tom, give my thoughts over to Bethany, as well as Darren, Tim, and all them over there. This is really good. Very enjoyable. If you all see one of these, Morgan Family Collection, this is the private stock black label from Limestone Farms. I'm going to turn the light back on. If you see one of these, I would say try to grab it. If it's under $200, definitely grab it. Over that, you may want to try to barter and bargain with your store, because I do think that is a little bit more than I would spend, but also as we're starting to get past that $200 mark, very, very picky regarding what I spend my money on. But overall, I don't think there was a bad pour here. Of the four, I'd say the lower tiered was probably be the one that I would just push away and not get, I'd go for the other three more so. Bloodline, good. It's a good sipper. My one critique, I just wish it was a little cheaper. The rest of them, though, very good. We go 5.7 for the Bloodline. That is good. We go to a 6.3, or 5.7 is average. 5.7 average, 6.3 good for the white label, which is the Family Collection Select Batch. Then we move to the Morgan Family Small Batch Red Label. That's a 7.9. That is, we'll just call it great because it's basically 8. And then an 8.6, great to excellent for the Black Label for that Morgan Family Collection private stock. So big shout out to the folks over at Limestone Farms, Heritage Distilling Company, for sending me these 4 samples. Very delicious, very grateful for you. And if y'all see this again, go grab those here. We are going to do the giveaway here in a second. 130 is the most you've ever spent on a bottle, Charlie, and that's again very understandable. 100 is some people's tipping point, so totally understand that. Tom says, "I'll be watching soon if they have not." Yeah, they'll be watching soon if they not know. Code on the site gets you 15% off. So there you go. I'll toss that up on my YouTube channel as well. Appreciate you, Tom. Thank you very much for sending this my way. Almost takes the care of tax and shipping too. Very tempting. Yeah, I mean, it's something to keep an eye on. So definitely head on over to their website. I'll put it in the description here and also put it in my Patreon group as well with the discount there for folks as well. So I did mention we're going to be doing a bottle giveaway for the Patreon members. For those of you who are just joining in, if you're not a Patreon member or you are still a Patreon member and you want a chance to win a different bottle, we're going to be giving away another bottle here. But the first giveaway is the New Riff Single Barrel coming from the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. This is going to be eligible for only folks who are part of the channel in October. So if you were a Whiskey Weather subscriber on YouTube, not subscriber, member, hit the join button below. If you were a Stormfront member, I gotta see, I did myself dirty with the words on this. If you're a member of the Stormfront in the Whiskey Weather Enthusiast tier, in the Storm Chaser tier, or the Legends tier on Patreon, or you are a Whiskey Weather Stormfront member on YouTube, which will be hitting that join button below, you were eligible if you were here in the month of October. Thank you for Randy, $10. Too rich for my money. I understand that. See anything on Facebook? First come, first served, in or what? Am I missing something? I must have missed some comments here. But any $5, I will put it in a spreadsheet here in a second. But we're going to be doing the giveaway for the New Riff bottle. Let me find that window. Oh, where did that go? Oh, it's because I'm an idiot and I closed it. All righty. Nope, I didn't. Okay, hold on a second, folks. There we go. All righty. Patreon member share. So here we go. So for those of you just joining in, we're going to be giving away this New Riff single barrel bottle. This goes to a lucky Patreon member from the month of October. Also, anybody who was part of the 3 members of the YouTube membership program as well, which you might see in the join button below. But here's everybody who was eligible. We got Mike Lawson, who is there at the top. And then as we go down, you'll see all the way towards the bottom, every name. Mike, The Good Drama, Naduri, Eric, Rob Hartzell, Grant Stucker, Fidel, Kyle, Whiskey Wisdom, Kyle Eaton. I'm trying to go slowly here so everybody can see their name. Nitro Noise, which was Kevin, Dave Vogelsing, Sam Fletcher, Brandon Perry, BNG. So if you don't see your name and you are a member of the Whiskey Weather Stormfront, you probably joined here in the month of November after the deadline for this. This is an October giveaway, not the November giveaway. That will be done in early October. So we go here to the random number generator. What I will say is that we will do a random number generator twice. It is going to be the second number that gets generated, just because we have had a couple issues with this stupid number generator, and we're always going to do the random number. So number 1 is Mike. You see low number 1, and then we go to the high number, which is going to be 41 entries, I believe. The last one is BNG. So, yep, 1 to 41, which we have up here on the top right. Let's go back up to the random number generator. There we go. So, we're going to do the generate twice. So, in that random number generator, generate number 4. And then the second one is number 40, which goes all the way down. And that is David Shuey. Congratulations. You are the winner of the new Riff bottle. Congrats to David Shuey, who joined in mid-October, one of the newer members of the Stormfront. And that's another reason why you may want to join in now, because you never know. It could be one of the older members. It could be one of the newer members. And David Shuey taking the cake. So a big shout out to David. Thank you to you. And thank you to all the Patreon members as well. I am going to get a new a spreadsheet ready to go to tack on for the giveaway, which is going to be a different bottle. And for those of you who have been watching my Instagram channel as well, a distillery that I think is starting to become up and coming as well, Whiskey War, or not Whiskey War, but the folks over at High Bank Distillery out of Columbus. This is Whiskey War. This is a barrel proof bottle coming in at 118.34 out of Ohio, out of Columbus, Ohio. Again, they're barrel proof blends. They've got a couple of different offerings, but this is going to be the bottle we're giving away today. So if you did donate part of that, we're talking Randy, who put in $10, all part of this, who have done the super chats. You've seen it scrolling at the bottom. I'm going to check my text for the Venmo as well, but you will be entered in to win this bottle. I'm going to work on the spreadsheet here as well, and we will do another giveaway here. So you got about 5 more minutes if you want to join in. If this is something that you are interested in, every $5 will get you an entry. So I'm going to start adding up a couple of these and putting it in my spreadsheet. My keyboard is over there, so you might see me up close and personal, and I'll continue to check some of this as well here in a second. But give me 1 second, guys. So this is proof giveaway. Make copy. Alrighty. All right. So let's go back all the way to the top. I believe Nick was the first one at $20. So Nick Altman, come on. Where you at, Nick? So yes, Nick, $20 super chat. I'm going to be putting it in here. I'll show you how I'm going to edit it. Stop sharing screen, window, High Bank. So here we are. The way this works is, as you see me edit it in person. Give me a second here, folks. So Nick, $20 super chat. That gets you 4, as you see in the third column there. That is 4 entries. And that is going to be Nick Altman. Next up on the super chat was Charlie Carey, another $20. A big shout out to both of you. Thank you for the support. I can't do any of this without your guys' support. You guys are the reason that I continue to come back week after week. Charlie Carey. And any dollar that I make here off the channel goes right back into making this channel a better experience. Chip, who is also a Patreon member. Chip, I always F up your name. Idlet. I believe he just won one from Whiskey Wisdom a few weeks ago. So congrats on your win there. Hopefully, for your sake, you continue your streak. Bobby, $5 from Bobby. Bobby Strange. So Bobby Strange. Boom. $5 from Bobby. And then I believe we had one more super chat pop up in the last 10 minutes. That was Randy at $10. Randy Flood. Thank you, Randy. I appreciate your support, brother. You're amazing. Each and every one of you are amazing, whether you've donated or not. I can't thank you enough for just being part of the live, giving me your time and your energy here on this Tuesday evening. Barry Daniels, $9.99. Barry is a Whiskey Weather Patreon member as well. Walter Barry Daniels, but we're going to put in Barry for tonight. Barry Daniels. So let's head on over. So, Nick, you've got 4 entries. Charlie Carey, you have 4. Chip, you've got 3. Bobby 1, Randy 2, Barry 2, and then let's check Venmo. Kevin. Oh, we got a bunch more via Super Chat. Jared Lee, $15. So $15 via Venmo for Jared Lee out of Oklahoma. Jared, I saw your purchase of a Whiskey Weather Glencairn. I will get that to you by the end of the week. Jared Lee, thank you much, my friend. I appreciate the support. I think that's the right Jared. So, Jared, you have 3. My guy, Eric, out of Kentucky. Eric Lytle, also a Whiskey Weather Patreon member. 10, that gets you 2. Sam Fletcher, $40 for the live raffle. Damn, Sam, appreciate you, brother. Samuel Fletcher with $40 via Venmo. And then Manchu Burbridge, $20. Man, y'all are showing out tonight. So you guys still have a few minutes to get those super chats in if you are interested in winning this bottle of High Bank Distillery's Whiskey War Barrel Proof. I opened mine up on Christmas Day last year. Very yummy, very good pour. There's a little bit of everything to it. I don't think it is actually distilled by them. I believe that is still some sourced whiskey, but they are now putting out their own whiskey. Tried some of it. Very, very good. So Manchu Burbridge, thank you to you, $20. Kevin Fitzsimmons, $5 $5 Venmo. Thank you, Kevin. That is 1 entry. Kevin Fitzsimmons. I'm trying not to butcher all of your names. Kevin Fitzsimmons, $5. And Kevin Barrett, $10 from my wife. She's a fan of New Riff. Well, this is not for the New Riff bottle. This is for the High Bank bottle, but we can work on it. I might be able to go grab you. Kevin, if you were to win, I can go grab your wife a bottle of New Riff for her. So far, 36 entries. As you may see there, let me scroll down so you all can see it. Here we go. So here we are. Super Chat, 4 entries. Venmo, 15 equals 3 entries here. And this tells you right here in this column the number of entries. So, Nick, you've got 4. Charlie, you've got 4. Chip, you've got 3. Bobby, you've got 1. Randy, you've got 2. Barry, you've got 2. Jared, 3. Eric, 2. Sam, 8. Manchu, you've got 4. Kevin Fitzsimmons, 1. Kevin Barrett, you've got 2. I'm going to leave this open for another 4 minutes. We'll go at 10:10. And we will continue to just make sure everything's coming in. Still funky. My word. Just realized the other day we share an employer. No way. Well, $50 from Still Funky. Appreciate you, Still Funky. Appreciate the support. If we share an employer, who is where do you work? Still Funky B. 50 on a super chat. Oh, I got to change that to super chat and not Venmo. But thank you for the support. That is 10 entries from Still Funky. Barry Daniels, thank you as well. Cheers to 5-5 Coffee. Thanks for joining in this evening. To Venmo. Oh, that's who the Venmo is. Okay. Thank you. So Still Funky. Oh, work at corporate. Well, Funky, good to be a coworker of yours. We'll have to go grab a drink at some point. Appreciate you for the support here on the super chat. Well, again, as I mentioned, we'll leave it open for 3 more minutes, but currently we have 46 entries at this point in time. So That is awesome. And I appreciate all of y'all for the support today. You are amazing. And thank you for sticking with me here at on this live. We've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes. A recap here for those of you who just joined in. If you haven't hit the subscribe button below, do that. Hit that like button as well. We rated and reviewed 4 different bourbons from Limestone Farms Heritage Distilling Company. We had the Bloodline's Kentucky Straight Bourbon. This comes in at $59.99. It's a 95 proof, 78% corn, 13% rye, 9% malted barley. That's got a score of a 5.7 out of 10. Average, not bad, close to good. The white label comes in as the Morgan Family Collection Select Batch, 6 to 9 years old, same mash bill, 78.13.9, price point $99.99, 6.3 out of 10. I don't know why I'm showing you guys this, because when I show that to you, you can't see it because it's too small. The third one we rated and reviewed, the Morgan Family Collection Small Batch Red Label. So this comes in at a proof point of 113.6. This is 8+ years old. This got a 7.9 out of 10 rating. So basically a great rating. We'll round up to 8. One of the better bourbons of the year. That's a price point of $139.99. And then lastly, their higher tiered, they call it their ultra premium category bourbon. This is Morgan Family Collection Private Stock, 8-year-old bourbon. A little different of a mash bill. We got 70% corn, 10% honeyed wheat, 10% honeyed malted barley, and 10% distiller's malt. This does have a higher price point at $189.99, and it was the best of the bunch. Comes in with a lightning counter score of 8.6 out of 10. So thank you again to the folks over at Limestone Farm. What is your work sweet spot on? What is my sweet spot on age typically? I'm usually 9 to 12. That is my favorite when it comes to bourbon. I will go up to 15. I do think 15 is probably the top. And then I start to think we get a little more oaky from there on out. But overall, it's not necessarily age, but I do think that between 9 and 15 would probably be my sweet spot, with 12 years being probably the best that I normally go to and trend to. Again, thank you to Eric. Eric's been one of my greatest supporters from the beginning. I actually go get a bottle from him this Friday, but love the support I'm saying. I'll enter another bottle for a drawing tonight if you want to run a second one with the same donations. Big shout out to Eric. Let's do it. So we will keep it open for 3 more minutes for donations, as Eric has donated a bottle to do a giveaway. Watershed Barrel Proof OHL Q-Pick. Y'all, this is fantastic. This is a delicious bottle. So if y'all haven't donated yet, this might be one that you also want to join in. So we've got 2 Ohio bottles up for grabs. Def, if you get anything in Single Bear Saturday last week in Ohio, I did not go out. I was actually coming home from Chicago on Saturday. My family is from the Chicago suburbs. I went home for my niece's birthday weekend, who has a birthday 2 days after me. And because I had to work this weekend, I work weekend evenings. Not the greatest shift in the world. I had to be home for that night, rather than staying for the entire party. But I didn't miss out on Single Bear Saturday. The only thing that I would have loved to have grabbed was the Nulu Maple Brulee, which I tried at the Kentucky Bourbon Fest, which was delicious. But overall, I've spent enough on bourbon and whiskey this year. After going through a divorce this year, I probably spent way too much money on bourbon and whiskey. But yeah, here we are. So big shout out to Eric. Thank you to him for donating that bottle. Everybody give Eric a big thank you. He's putting in this Watershed Barrel Proof OHL Q-Pick into the raffle for tonight as well. So everybody who has donated, you are not only entered in to win this Whiskey War High Bank bottle, but also the Watershed bottle from Eric. I will be the one who pays the shipping for that. I will, unless you're a local person. Can you get some samples of Nulu if you want? I appreciate that, Sean. Sean, another great dude. And this is, again, why you make connections in the community. Sean won a couple bottles of Blanton's Gold, and he gave it to me at MSRP. So he took a couple for himself, and I got another bottle of Blanton's Gold from my first Blanton's Gold. Sean hooked me up with that as well. So big cheers to him. Sorry to hear about that, B. It's all good. It's all good. Life happens, man. We're moving towards a happier life now, right? Not the greatest situation, but here we go. Eric is the bomb for sure. And Eric is a dedicated Storm Chaser member for the Whiskey Weather Patreon group. And again, as I mentioned, the Patreon's really just to help fund the channel, fund everything, get barrel picks to put out some great whiskey with you guys. We've got a great bottle of Augusta Old Route 8 that Eric helped pick with me. And coming here soon, we've got a Green River barrel proof coming through that I picked with in conjunction with Union Wine and Bourbon House out in Union, and that should be dropping hopefully in December. So anybody who is a member of the Patreon crew, you are eligible. I'm going to check the Venmo one more time, and we will run this thing here in 2 minutes. So Venmo is... just another Venmo from Jared because Eric is awesome. Jared Lee says 15 Venmo because Eric is awesome. So we're going to add another 15 to this for add to stage. There we go. And so we're going to add another 15 in for Jared Lee. 15. Jared says, Eric, you are awesome. Jared Lee, that is your second $15 donation. So big shout out to Jared. Thank you, sir. We are now up to 49. Yes, 49 entries out of all of this. I'll go through it one more time. Nick, you have 4. Charlie, you have 4. Chip, 3. Bobby, 1. Randy, 2. Barry, 2. Jared, 3. And then an additional 3 later on. Eric, 2. Sam, 8. Manchu, who is Chew on YouTube, 4. Thank you to each and every one of you. Kevin Fitzsimmons, 1. Kevin Barrett, 2. Still Funky B, 10. Big shout out to all of y'all. Jared, 3 more, all up to 49 different entries. I can't thank y'all enough. That is incredible. Thank you so much. We're going to close it now. My girlfriend just sent me a text. Take it off. She wants me to take the sweater off, but there's nothing on underneath. The sweaters are for sale if you do enjoy the sweaters. Oh, and we got another 5 from Funky. Give my entries to others. I just want to support the channel. So the first one to say in gets... give my entries to others. I just want to support the channel. Oh, well, shit. All right, so we're going to give Funky 1 entry out of that. And then the next 11 people to say in, that'll be your entry. And I'm going to have to fuck around with this. Funky, you're getting an entry. Thank you. You're awesome. I appreciate you. So still Funky, you get 5. So that is 1 entry. And then we're going to have to divvy up the next 10. So sorry, the first 10 to say in. Rob in. All right. I'll let you know if your name got in. So Rob, Charlie, and I'm doing it in the order that it shows up in my system here. So Rob, then Charlie. And that light over there, Charlie Carey. That light's going to bother me. It's going to keep flashing back and forth. So all that money from the channel goes to buy me a brand new damn light because it does this every time. Porky, you are in. Porky Prankster. And a big shout out to Funky or Stay Funky B, because for all of you who are getting this entry, it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for him. So Bobby in. Bobby Strange. Again, another entry for Bobby. William Hall in. Hall in. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next one is Nick in. Nick Altman. Next one is Eric Lytle. He's in for his own bottle. It's all good. It's all good, Funky. Eric Lytle in. Yeah. Don't worry, man. It's all good. I appreciate the support, and this is real fun, and I appreciate it. Cheers all says Will. Stang says in. Stang is in. And then Randy Flood is in. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the last and final in is Austin Lavoie, who also a new member to the Whiskey Weather Stormfront. So Austin Lavoie is in. So let's make sure this all sets up the way it should. All right. Yep. So we will regroup. Can I run the OHLQ bottle separate from the Whiskey War? Give someone else a chance. Sorry, Sean. You missed out by 2 people. Actually, you missed out by 1. Sean, you were the next, then Kevin. Rob, thank you. True that. Thanks to Funky, everybody. Make sure you give Funky some love. Love to share. That's what's so great about the bourbon community. Agreed. It's my girlfriend always says it's drink the best with the best, and it's drinking the best with the best for sure, and it's the community that makes it the best. So yes, Eric, do you want me to remove that or remove someone who whoever wins will not be eligible to win the second bottle? That's what I'll do. And Eric, best of luck to you. Maybe you'll win the Whiskey War. So here we are. I told you we were going to do it at 10:19. Let me just double check the Venmo. Yes, we are good. So again, we are going to do this where I run the randomizer twice. Let's go through the entries one last time. Nick, Charlie, Chip, Bobby, Randy, Barry, Jared, Eric, Sam, Manchu, Kevin Barrett, still Funky B. You get the 1 because I'm not going to let you just donate 55 and not have a shot. Jared, Rob, Charlie, Porky, Bobby, William, Nick, Eric, Stang, Randy, Austin Lavoie. Total of 50 entries. You guys are in freaking incredible. Thank you. This is going to be an amazing boon to the channel. So what we've got to do over here, I've got to come in here. Tools, extensions, random generator, start. Just making sure you guys can see it. Okay. As I mentioned, we are going to do this where it is the second random number. So generate number 1, generate number 2. So number 7, Charlie Carey, you are the winner of the Whiskey War Barrel Proof. Congratulations to Charlie. Charlie, congrats. You are the winner. He was the first ever Patreon member of the Whiskey Weather Stormfront. So big shout out to Jerry. You have won the Whiskey War. I am going to remove your name from the board because you are not going to be able to win the watershed from Eric because he wanted to run it to where somebody else has a chance. So Charlie, you are getting a 0 there. No, not 200. We're getting a 0. So there we go. So Charlie is the winner. So the second winner, who will be winning the watershed bottle from Eric, and give Eric a big shout out. So again, we're going to do this twice. So it is not going to be this first generation. It's going to be the second one. So generation number 1 is see, that's why it happens. Working. See, it keeps giving me number 7. So we're going to delete that. And that's why we do it twice. Here we go. Generate number 1 and number 15. And then number 2 is number 6. And that is going to be Chip Idolette. So Chip, winner, who wins the bottle from Watershed from Eric. A big thank you to each and every one of you who donated tonight, who gave the support. Thank you for watching, giving me, if you've been here, which a lot of you have been for the last hour and 20 minutes of your night on this Tuesday. Thank you for your time. It does mean a lot to me. This is a passion project of mine. Big congrats to Chip. I can get you the information, Eric, or you just give me the bottle and I'll ship it to Chip, so you don't have to worry about the. Congrats to Charlie, says Chip, and congrats to Chip as well. So Charlie and Chip, Charlie Chip. It's almost like chocolate chip. But congrats to you both. Awesome. Both of you are winners. Both of you amazingly are Patreon members. Thank you to each and every one of you again. I can't thank you enough. That is the most sincere thank you that I can give, because you guys are incredible. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. I would just be an idiot talking on a camera to no one. So yeah, recap of the night. Pretty damn good night. Stay tuned. I've got a Little Book Infinite blend review coming up. I've got another review on Booker's Reserves. I also am thinking of doing a couple different projects here over the next couple of weeks between now and the end of the year. And then, of course, I will have my top 10 bourbons, and maybe even we'll just do a couple different lists by the end of the year. So thank you to each and every one of you. You guys are fantastic. Don't forget to check out and hit the subscribe button. We'll love your videos and your weather reports. Thank you, Funky B, at least those of us in the Cincinnati area. If you are in the Cincinnati area, here's a free weather forecast. This Thursday, we've got a chance at seeing our first snowfall of the year, potentially a dusting coming through with some steadier snow at times on Thursday. I don't think it's going to stick on the roads. I think we're going to be pretty good on that as well. Good night to each and every one of you. Thank you for your support. Snow, baby, snow. Yes, whiskey weather. It's always whiskey weather. My wife said, "Oh, well." Thank you all. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your Tuesday night. We'll be back with more content here later on this week and throughout the next several weeks as we are getting to crunch time towards the end of the year. Tonight, I'm extremely grateful for each and every one of you here in the month of November, the month of thanks. So thank you. Have a great night. Remember, I always end the videos the same way. It is always whiskey weather. Just please remember to drink responsibly. Cheers, y'all.